So to get started, over the last few weeks, I've talked to a number of people who are themselves starting to do work in sacred singing. They're singing at funerals and they're singing at they're doing keening. And the question came up a number of times: how do you sing? How do you perform without getting really choked up, in particular with something very serious and emotional like a funeral? And I just thought it was a beautiful topic to cover, and it's a very interesting topic to cover as well. So essentially, and we're going to start with that. So essentially, when you are singing in service of XYZ, it's important to remember in that moment that you are in service of this greater event, this body of people who are there mourning or celebrating, in the case of maybe a welcoming ceremony for a new baby or a wedding. But in any case, you as the singer in that moment, yes, it's your job to feel, but more than feeling, it's your job to allow the energy of the feeling to transport through you and out into the audience. What does that mean? It is impossible to expect a singer who is using their body as an instrument. It's impossible to expect that person to feel nothing when singing at something like a funeral. However, it is our responsibility as singers in this context to do our work ahead of time, to process what's going on emotionally and to prepare so that we can take those emotions, we can take that highly charged energetic state and have calmness within ourselves so that we can facilitate an experience for those who are listening and those who are in the middle of their own mourning process in the case of a funeral. So how do you do that? The first and most important thing when preparing music for a funeral or for some sacred event where it's pretty serious and emotions are going to run high is it's extremely important that you do your own work ahead of time. What does that mean? Now, depending upon the context of the event, depending upon how close you are to maybe the one who has passed on, it will kind of dictate maybe how much time you need to take. If you're singing, for instance, for a family member's funeral, it's going to maybe take more time to process through the grief that you're going to be feeling before you're prepared to sing for the funeral, for the ceremony for others. If you are hired as a shaman or a singer or some other spiritual facilitator to sing or keen for a funeral or a releasing ceremony, it might not be as emotional for you, but then if you're very empathic, you might be absorbing the emotions, the highly charged emotions of the people who are there. So that's something to navigate. But in essence, the important thing is, as I said, give yourself time before the event, as much time as you can and as you need to process what's going to happen ahead of time. So if you are singing, for instance, for your grandmother, for her funeral, this is something that I did when my grandmother passed away a number of years ago. You know that it's going to be emotional. You know that it's going to be highly charged. And it's important for you to process what you're feeling long in advance of the funeral, as long as advance notice as you have. Oftentimes, especially with Western funerals, we don't have a whole lot of advance notice, maybe a couple days, maybe a week. So, within reason. But what you want to do is you want to go in and you want to sit with your grief and you want to let that first waves of grief and emotion, tears, sorrow, anger, all of the stages, you want to allow them to move through you so that when you get to this kind of supercharged time of the funeral, you've already released your first wave of emotion. Because when you get to the funeral or when you get to the event where you are now having also an audience who's listening and an audience who is mourning, self-sourcing in that moment is going to be very, very important. And we're going to get to that. That's the second part of what's in of the technique to kind of sing at a funeral that we're going to get to. But essentially, self-sourcing, staying in your center, staying in your body is going to be really important there. So I'll give you an example. So my grandma died a number of years ago, I think 2013, but I don't remember the exact date. I'm horrible with dates, but she died a long time ago. But about 15 years before she died, she told me that she wanted me to sing at her funeral. So yes, okay, one could argue I had plenty of time to prepare, but you never can really prepare for death, even if you know that the person is dying and is old, or, there's another thing going on. But what she basically did is 15 years before her funeral, she went to her church director. She got some sheet music. I came up to her house one day. She slapped the sheet music in my hand and said, "I want you to sing this song at my funeral." Grandma, no. I mean, okay, I'll honor your wish, but I don't want to talk about it. Stop. I'm old. It's going to happen someday. It is my wish that you sing at my funeral. Okay. So I take the song, I learn the song. The first thing is to learn all the technical stuff in the song so that you aren't having to navigate, working through difficult vocal sections in the middle of the funeral when you're high emotion. But then when she actually passed away and I had the sheet music, of course I learned the song that she wanted, but I wanted to sing something beyond that song to honor her. And in this moment, my dad actually volunteered to accompany me on the piano. So my dad and I performed at my grandmother's funeral, who was my mom's mom. Now, of course, her death was a shock, as death is. And it was really important. And also everybody who was there in mourning, of course, were my family members and loved ones. So having empathy and feeling their emotion and their love and their loss amplified my emotion, of course. So what was important for me and what I did is, as I prepared for the funeral and I rehearsed with my dad, and maybe in your case, you're rehearsing with a rehearsal pianist or you're doing it with a recording, kind of karaoke or playback style, run the piece enough times with the person in mind so that the emotion starts to move through and you can feel where it's moving through the voice. Chances are high that there will be some section in the song that brings the emotion up in you. So a climactic part or a part where the chords become very beautiful. Maybe they're minor. Maybe the tempo gets faster. There's going to be a part of the song that you're also going to feel kind of triggered and emotional. So map out the song ahead of time so you know where those places are. And then as you're performing, you have the music well enough prepared that then you're able to navigate the stuff that's coming at you in the moment by then applying some of these other techniques, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So number one, give yourself enough time to process your grief and all of the emotions that are possible to come up based upon the event that you're doing, a funeral or something like that, so that you have time to arrive with your stuff processed as much as possible. So that's number one. Number two, remember in this moment that when you go to perform at a funeral, you are of service. It is not, okay, now I say this, take it with a grain of salt, but in that moment when you're performing, it's not your time to mourn. Your emotional self steps slightly aside and gives way and your emotional self opens up into this facilitation of moving the emotion for others or helping others move emotion through the voice. Now, there are traditions, lamenting traditions, where the person singing is responsible for bringing forth the emotion and feeling the emotion, transmuting the emotion for the people present. So I'm not talking about those contexts exactly. I'm also not well versed in those contexts. So over time, as I learn more about those traditions, I'm sure that I will change my tune a little bit. But what I'm speaking of right now is more of the Western context, singing at a Western funeral, or singing like a chant or something like this at a funeral. So, and in that moment, then it is your responsibility to hold the space with the voice and use the voice and funnel your emotion into the space so that these people who are there with you can transmute their sorrow and their feelings in the cauldron that you've created with your sacred song. So remembering that you're in service is just a great way to kind of bring you back into the moment. And the third thing then that you want to do is when you're singing, so when you're in the actual event, it's going to be sometimes very difficult to maneuver and navigate the things coming towards you. So these are the times when you return to your breath and you return to your technique. You'll know, okay, in order to avoid this, frog in my throat because I feel the tears coming up, I'm going to make sure, put my hand on my lower stomach, I'm going to make sure that I release the breath all the way down, release the musculature all the way down so that I free up this space that's starting to tighten with emotion. So as you're singing and as you're singing in the event itself, you are concentrating on the flow of the air. It's like chanting in a meditative way. You're focusing on the flow of the air. You're focusing on the vibration of the frequencies. You're focusing on the beauty and the purity of the vowels with the intention of creating space for the people listening to mourn. It's not the time, it's not the time for you to mourn in that moment when you're singing. Right after, go for it. It's very, very, very difficult to sing and keep composure when it's such a highly charged emotional setting like a funeral. But it's possible. Many people do it. And I myself have also done it in a number of different contexts, from hired singer at a funeral to actually singing for my own grandmother. So I promise it's possible. This is the time when you kind of lean into your technique, you lean into the muscle memory and the physical memory that your body has, and you sing with trust and unconditional love for everybody that's present, and you just go from there.